This past off season, us NASCAR fans saw one of the craziest off seasons of all time with driver changes. We saw the one car of Kurt Busch leaving to go drive for 2311 Racing in the 45 car, Brad Keselowski leaving the 2 car from Team Penske to go be a co-owner slash driver for RFK Racing. Then we saw Ross Chastain driving the 42 car last year for Ganassi. As they shut down, he was left without a ride, and he went on over to Justin Marks and Pitbull for Trackhouse Racing. Those were 3 of the biggest changes of last year's silly season, but this year I believe that you will see an even bigger change. And I'm here today to give y'all my 5 predictions where Kyle Busch could possibly end up for the 2023 campaign. But let's get started.
Hey, it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here at Kroger, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
I am not going to make this video a lot longer than it's supposed to be, so I am just going to dive right into it. This offseason, us NASCAR fans are going to see one of the biggest driver changes of all time. And the current driver of the number 18 car for Joe Gibbs Racing is Kyle Busch. And this offseason, his contract with Mars Candy is going to come to an end. And that wouldn't be so big of a deal if you did not have Ty Gibbs coming up and dominating in the Xfinity Series, and is the grandson of that team, Joe Gibbs. And so Joe Gibbs Racing is going to have to make a very tough decision, because Kyle Busch is not going to probably bring in money for the time being, and Ty Gibbs will with Monster Energy. So do they decide to move on from Kyle Busch? And that's the topic here for today's video. If he were to move on, where would he go? Obviously, things can work out for Kyle Busch and he can remain in the 18 car. So that's why I have them at the number 1 spot, because that's just the best thing, the thing to do with the 18 car for the time being. But the number 1 option, I would believe, for Kyle Busch, if he were to go elsewhere from Joe Gibbs Racing, would be to head over to 2311 Racing, because that is a Toyota team, and I believe Toyota will have a lot of say-so for Kyle Busch this offseason, because Toyota views Kyle Busch as a owner, not a driver, because Kyle Busch owns a truck series team that fills 2 full-time cars and a part-time truck. And that's where they put their young Toyota drivers to develop, and it lead to Xfinity, then Cup. We saw from big names in the past like Eric Jones, Christopher Bell, and so on. And look how they are now. They're very talented drivers in the Cup Series, and they're going to be very popular for years to come. But Kyle Busch, Toyota, they're going to have a strong relationship going forward, and I believe if something were to happen, 2311 Racing will be the number 1 target for Kyle Busch. And heck, he'll be a teammate with his brother Kurt Busch. How cool would that be? But that's still a long shot. The number 3 option, I believe, for Kyle Busch will be to drive the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing. This offseason, Stewart-Haas Racing is going to have to make a couple of tough decisions. For the Xfinity side of things, Riley Herbst is not doing well at all. They will probably bring in someone else. Who could it be? Zane Smith, possibly. I don't know. Time will tell. But for the Cup Series, they're going to have to make some big changes, starting with who's going to replace Eric Almirola and who is probably going to replace Cole Custer if he does not do much better this season. But let's assume that 10 car is going to be the only route available for Stewart-Haas Racing for the time being. Almirola is retiring, and right now the leading candidate is Ryan Preece, because he is the team's reserve driver, and they will bring in some type of sponsorship money. But if Kyle Busch goes out on the market, does Tony Stewart and Gene Haas go out there and give Kyle Busch an offer to drive the 10 car? But here's the kick, though. Would you rather have Kyle Busch without much sponsor help, or Ryan Preece, who is not really on the same level with Kyle Busch, but with a lot of sponsorship money? That's a tough decision to make, and you got to make them tough ones as a team owner here and there. And I believe if this were to pop up, I would believe they will pick Kyle Busch any day of the week. Kyle Busch has won, I think it was 2 driver championships in over 60 wins in NASCAR in the Cup Series. If he hasn't, I'm foreshadowing because he will get there one day, but there you go. The third ride option, I believe, will be the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing. The number 4 spot will be RFK Racing. And this team right here is owned by Jack Roush, and you got the Fenway Group, but also Brad Keselowski. And Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch in the past has had their differences. But that can all change because Keselowski now is obviously matured and is more, I don't know how to say this. He's more in debt with the ownership type of sit style, and he's not going out there wrecking everyone week in and week out like he used to for wins, and he was aggressive. No, he's kind of relaxed. Took it down a notch this past year and a half or so. And if Kyle Busch were to go there, that would be a big gain for the team, but also Roush Yates engines, because if Kyle Busch were to go to a Ford team, his truck team will obviously switch to a Ford manufacturer. And that would be a spot for more Ford drivers to work their way up to NASCAR, because that is one thing they are lacking in, which is development rides. There are not really many in the Xfinity side of things besides Stewart-Haas Racing. And in truck series, you got DGR, which, let's be honest here, you got the 15 car, and you got Haley Deegan. Tanner DeGray is doing a great job, but Haley Deegan is not, and I really find it hard to believe that they're still going to hold on to her for years to come, because that is a disappointment. Has DNF almost 3 times this year. You can hate me all you want. That is not a driver you want to keep around for program if you're lacking in money. So if they can get their hands on Kyle Busch, that's going to be a big gain for them. They could put more drivers going up, and yeah, the 17 car is the 4th option, I believe. And the 5th option will be going to Kaulig Racing. Kaulig Racing, these last handful of years, just came out of nowhere. They started winning in Xfinity, and that translated to Cup because they won of A.J. Allmendinger on the Indianapolis road course in the year of 2021. And they nearly had a chance to win at the Circuit of Americas, also referred as COTA, in the 2022 season. And they were dumped on the final corner on the final lap by Ross Chastain. And Allmendinger was not pleased at all. So the 16 car, I would believe, will be up there on a list if Kyle Busch were to leave Joe Gibbs Racing, but highly unlikely. And if things are to go really south, I can see Kyle Busch going over to IndyCar. IndyCar in the last couple of years has gained a lot of popularity as they added 2 big-name drivers, Jimmy Johnson, the 7-time champion of NASCAR, and Romain Grosjean from Formula One. Grosjean left Formula One at the conclusion of the 2020 season and was very popular by being referred as the Fireball, because in Bahrain he hit the wall, caught on fire, a very devastating moment. But luckily, he found himself land on his 2 feet in IndyCar last year, racing for Rick Ware, and worked his way up to Andretti. So he's going to be there for years to come. And if IndyCar can add Kyle Busch to their driver lineup, holy crap, that's going to be a big success for Kyle Busch and for also IndyCar in their ratings. But there you go, your top 5. He's going to probably remain with Joe Gibbs Racing, but if he doesn't, 2311 Racing. If he doesn't do that, Stewart-Haas Racing, and then RFK Racing, and then Kaulig Racing. But everybody, though, remember to please like and subscribe and comment down below your opinions about this all, because this is going to be a big situation that goes this all season, and I'm ready to see what happens.